through storms, unshaken, unbowed. Through trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it loud. Change in the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrency's the key, make the big switch. Power to the people, time to teach the rich.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Crazy Kryptonaut channel. I am Zester. Thank you guys so much for joining me on your Friday morning for a crypto update. We've got a little bit of news. I'm going to go ahead and let everyone know it's actually not that exciting of a crypto news day this morning, but we do have one or two big articles. As a matter of fact, the headline for today's podcast kind of alludes to really the big story of the day. And we don't honestly know what Walmart and Amazon have up their sleeves, but we're going to explore that one. How is everyone doing there? I had not noticed that it was the Friday the 13th this month. Happy Friday the 13th to all. Good morning, Trish, and good morning, Kukla. How is it going, Crazy Chester and Deborah Muse Wolf? Neil Brooks, Ollie Zester from 81 degrees, Graham, North Carolina. Still buying the XRP dip. We did see a pretty substantial dip, which everyone is currently blaming on the rise in tensions between Israel and Iran. Stocks, markets are all in major flux this morning. Cryptocurrencies in major flux this morning, and all of the talking heads are pointing towards Iran, Israel as being the catalyst. I mean, oil prices are already skyrocketing inside of the United States. I think as of the last time I had checked, it was about an 8% rise in oil over just the past about 12 hours. And so we're still seeing what all the world is thinking about Iran, Israel, and we also are still not really certain yet what the U.S. policy is going to be on it. It seems a little bit like Israel unilaterally made the decision. At least that's what the Trump administration is saying. That's what Israel's saying. Iran is arguing that it was not unilateral and that the United States obviously had to have helped out. We'll find out in the coming days, or we won't, I suppose. Good morning, Michelle Newth and Mary Jones. Good morning there, Mary Pat and Lori Harris. The important thing to make certain I don't forget, please do remember, guys, that the content in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes and is not intended to provide financial advice. Please consult with a financial professional before making investment decisions. Absolutely. Deborah Muse Wolf, I'm blaming the Iran-Israel conflict for not putting my trash on the curb this week. Hey, Deborah, call the trash service and let them know. Let them know. Oh, Boricua. Hola, Zester. Hola. Hola. ¿Cómo estás? Kukla. Zester, how are your one-on-one classes going? Kukla, I am still testing out and waiting for the payment processing to work. And so it's on hold at the moment while I guess they go through and check and whether they're going to accept it. They're going to accept it, though. They just always take their time. So I should be able to turn that service on. Hopefully they send me the email saying that they've activated it sometime today. And then I'll be able to test it over the weekend. So it's very, very close. It's all working except for the part where right now people can schedule me for any time of the day, 365. And unfortunately, I kind of need to get that part figured out because I don't think I'll be making any meetings that are scheduled at 1 or 2 a.m. And so we're very, very close on that front. And I know Trish had offered to help out with testing it. And so I'm Very, very appreciative of that, Trish. And also to those who send emails who are ready to be the initial guinea pigs. Do not worry. As soon as it's ready, I'll be sending out that link for to all those who have emailed to see how it works. What's up, Patricia Lee? Welcome, welcome, and welcome, Christina999. Hope you're having an awesome, awesome morning. All right, though, guys, let's go ahead and check out our markets for today. Yes, as we had already talked about, prices are precipitously down this morning on account of Israel-Iran. And so we're currently looking at $105,000 Bitcoin, still sitting over 2,500 on the Ethereum side, and XRP sitting down at $2.14. We are slightly recovering from some of the initial panicked lows from the news, but in all honesty, we haven't really recovered much at this point. And so you may have been buying at just the right time. Back up there, Neil. You may be buying at just the right time, but I'm not certain. We're kind of sitting at a point in time where if it continues to escalate with Iran and Israel, we're likely to see prices go even lower. If we see them back away from escalating the conflict and maybe Iran says, never mind, we'd love to sign a nuclear agreement with the United States, then you probably bought at exactly the right time, Neil. But unfortunately, until we get some answers there, it's going to continue to be very, very, very volatile. Mary Pat, how do we get one-on-one classes? There will be a service coming out very soon where you'll be able to schedule hours of Zester's time ahead. And in that way, be able to go ahead, set out a time, tell me what it is that we're going to go through and fix, and then we'll be able to jump in together and do one-on-one. There will be a hourly charge for doing the one-on-one classes. And so this is something that I'm having to take hours away from normal work in order to do the scheduling. And so unfortunately, Zester has to eat. But I'm going to try to make certain that it stays very, very, very achievable for everyone. And so, yes, very, very soon, Mary Pat, you will be able to rent a Zester for an hour or two, or however many hours I guess it takes for us to get through and fix whatever it is you have going on with your cryptocurrencies. All right, though, back to our charts today. Yes, across the board, it's a universal. Everybody is down, really, with Bitcoin seeming to be doing the best out of anybody in terms of holding its general price. Bitcoin only managed to dip down to about 103,000 during even the worst part of this drop, and is already looking to recover. And that's just because nowadays we have so much money flowing into cryptocurrency that even on bad news, it's really being muted to a large degree by all of the different corporations that are buying up Bitcoin reserves. MicroStrategy went in and bought billions more. BlackRock has silently managed to make it to the point of controlling 3% of all Bitcoin on the planet. These institutional players are still dumping money like crazy. All that today did was gave these institutions a little bit of a cheaper buy-in price. It's not slowing down them in the slightest. Not in the slightest. Oh, good morning there, Marcy. How are you doing? All right. On to our big story of the day, and really pretty much the biggest news of the day all around, because we do have a fairly boring morning besides for the Iran-Israel conflict. But Walmart and Amazon are to explore crypto payments via stable coins. Estimates are that Walmart and Amazon could save up to $14 billion by launching a corporate stablecoin. And with U.S. Genius Act, and so the Stablecoin Act progressing and legislation ongoing in terms of Congress, well, now companies like Walmart and Amazon are saying, hey, if this actually comes to fruition, we're going to be launching a stablecoin. Now, how it's going to work, whether they're going to have, Amazon bucks, Walmart bucks, or whether they're going to choose to actually use an existing stablecoin is yet to be seen. But something that would be very, very exciting would be if they came out and said that they were going to be using, say, RLUSD or something of that nature, or that they were going to be building their stable coin on the XRP ledger. That would be particularly exciting news. We don't know yet at this point really any details. All we are really aware of is just how much money and the fact that they are actively looking into this right now. Expectations are that assuming the Genius Act goes through, no worries, which it is set for its final Senate vote on June 17th, that we are likely going to start hearing announcements from just about all the big boys in terms of corporations about how they're going to be launching their own stablecoin or how they're going to be adopting some other company's stablecoin or some other country's stablecoin. And so this is extremely, extremely exciting, but we don't really know how excited to be getting at this point in time. We know this is happening. We saw Bolivia started putting USDT tether price tags on goods in their supermarkets in the past week. And we can expect with the Genius Act passing that we're going to start seeing stable coins become a payment option for the vast majority of all online retailers. And so the Amazons of the world, Walmart online shopping, the list goes on and on. eBay, I guess people still use eBay. Anything that is an online retailer or online payments is most likely going to be absolutely speed running, accepting stable coins following the vote on the 17th, assuming that it goes in the direction that it appears to be and it passes in its current form. It's about to happen. It's about to happen. You're going to see the ability to go in and buy with USDC on Amazon, on Walmart, and that's going to be the beginning of these companies moving through from just stable coins as an accepted payment option to, say, other cryptocurrencies being an accepted payment option. So who all out there is going to be buying who's going to be spending stable coins when these companies start to accept them? I feel like at first, well, most of the benefit is really going to come for the company. I wonder if what they're going to do is they're going to start giving us essentially like cash discounts for paying with stable coins, because we're saving them the credit card transaction fees, anywhere from 1.5 to, well, some credit card processing fees get crazy, but usually 2.5, 3%. We should be saving the company that money every time we spend stable coins. And so I would expect there to start being cash discounts offered on online retailers for you choosing to use a stable coin as opposed to, say, swiping your Visa because, well, somebody's got to pay that credit card processing. Which with a blockchain, a stable coin would be fractions and fractions and fractions of a penny, saving companies that are doing a lot of volume massive amounts of money on a daily basis. I expect us to see cash discounts, maybe not at first, because the companies are going to know that they could get away with it and that, well, people will use it for novelty's sake to be able to spend money that maybe they have had sitting on their hardware wallet for a long time. But otherwise, as soon as people become aware of how much money we're saving these companies by choosing to spend stable or choosing to spend a crypto, I have a feeling we're going to start to see offers of that nature. Michelle knew Zester. Mr. C was sure excited this morning. He absolutely was. And whenever Mr. C gets excited, well, it tends to get me excited. And so I've had a very exciting week with all of the crypto news coming out, XRP's sidechain bridging over to Ethereum, which I'm still ecstatic about. Guys, that is the biggest news that should have sent XRP's price to $5 just on the announcement. The announcement should have sent XRP skyrocketing, but many people are just not aware of what that technology means. As more people become knowledgeable and aware of what that Ripple sidechain is going to accomplish, I have a feeling that there's going to be other folks out there just as excited as I am. We had the Ondo Finance partnership bringing U.S. Treasuries to the XRP ledger in a tokenized form. We've had so much exciting news when it comes to cryptocurrencies and the financial system this week. So very much. All right. Elizabeth Hooker, is Coinbase the best ledger for XRP? And so, Elizabeth, Coinbase is a centralized exchange. And this is where the terminology gets very confusing, because the term ledger is used a lot, and I'm to blame partially for this. Well, because very often I will reference the term ledger, and what I mean is the ledger of the company who actually makes hardware wallets. The company's called Ledger. Now, the XRP blockchain is known as the XRP ledger. And many times the term ledger is used when discussing blockchain technology and how it works. And so, Elizabeth, this one gets very confusing. And so Coinbase is a centralized exchange. And you can think of Coinbase as being a bank. Now, I would not say to take this literally. I say this is a way of just kind of wrapping your head around what service Coinbase provides. View Coinbase as like a bank. What I can do in Coinbase is I can go through and I can store my cryptocurrency with them. They store it for me. I can trade my cryptocurrency for other assets. And so I could trade from Ethereum to Hedera, or Hedera to Solana, or I could deposit more US dollars and buy crypto. What I can also do here in Coinbase, Elizabeth, is I could say sell crypto and send it back to my bank account in the form of US dollars to say, you know, pay my car loan, or whatever it may be. And so, Elizabeth, Coinbase is your exchange. Your ledger, or your wallet for XRP, is separate from it. When you transfer your XRP that you bought on Coinbase over to your wallet, or to say your hardware wallet that maybe you mean this ledger wallet, now you are the custodian of the crypto. The only person who can send it or interact with it is you. While it is on Coinbase, you are trusting Coinbase to store your money. The same idea as when you put money into a bank, you're trusting Wells Fargo to store your money, keep it safe, and let you use it when you want to use it. In that way, Elizabeth, the best wallet for XRP, I would very much argue, is going to be a hardware wallet like a ledger. And that's going to be the best cold wallet. In terms of hot wallets, and so a software wallet, something that runs on your phone, well, there are a ton of different options out there that allow you to store XRP. I would just highly recommend that you think about getting something a little bit more permanent at some point in time. That way you don't have to worry about storing your XRP, whether it's safe or whether something's going to happen to it. You'll know, as long as you keep your hardware wallet safe, you're good to go. All right, though, Elizabeth, sorry, I don't think I can fully answer. I think I may need a little bit more info on it in order to make certain that I get you the perfect answer, Elizabeth. And so if you're talking about a wallet that you want to store your XRP on, just let me know and I can discuss a little bit more in detail. Erico66, hey Zester, rumor has it that Iraqi dinar is being traded on Coinbase for $1.67 to $2.48. Is this possible? Now, Erico, I do not believe that is currently happening. It may be currently happening, but what is very, very, very possible and very true here, Erico, is that we are in a point in time where we are going to see the difference between a centralized exchange in cryptocurrency and a traditional bank really, really disappear. And so what we're going to see in the near future is the ability for you to have in your Wells Fargo account, say, some XRP, some US dollars, and potentially be able to directly through Wells Fargo actually trade back and forth between the different crypto assets or traditional assets. And so in the same way that right now you could have like a foreign currency account, at a bank where you could potentially be trading back and forth or holding euros and Great British pounds and US dollars all in the same place, ergo, you're going to start seeing that occur with centralized exchanges, where you're going to essentially see a blurring between the lines of what is a centralized exchange and what is a bank. As crypto becomes more mainstream and these bills get passed in order to regulate how crypto works, we're going to see banks and exchanges become almost indistinguishable. Now, some might be more focused on one thing. They specialize in crypto, or they specialize in more of a traditional system. That may be the case, but ultimately, we're going to start seeing the ability to interact between things that are not on necessarily the blockchain while we're on something like Coinbase. Another example of this is the XRP news, actually from earlier in the week, ergo. And so the XRP news from earlier in the week brought tokenized US treasuries to the XRP ledger. Now, those tokenized US treasuries could be very easily exchanged and traded on something like Coinbase. And so now you're starting to see that distinction between the real world and the blockchain world. They're going to start blurring more and more. They're going to become the same thing, where I can go in and I can buy stock, because that's what Ondo Finance also did for XRP Ledger. XRP, you're going to be able to hold tokenized Tesla stock on the XRP Ledger in the near future, or tokenized Apple stock. You're starting to see this happen, and it's only going to accelerate. And at a certain point, we're no longer going to even really remember the times when a centralized exchange or a bank weren't capable of providing all of these services. It'll be a thing of the past at some point in the fairly near future. Mary Jones, Zester, I have an old laptop. Should I wait until I can upgrade to transfer my XRP? Mary Jones, and so if you have an old laptop, that's not a bad thing at all. Now, do you have a wallet that is, say, downloaded, or a software wallet that is downloaded to that old laptop? Mary Jones, also, do you have your seed phrase written down to the wallet? Because remember, you don't actually have to go in and say, send your crypto to another wallet. If you have your 24 words, you can put those 24 words in, and there can technically be two versions of your wallet running around the world. Now, this gets a little dangerous. The more times you put out private and sensitive information, the more opportunities there are for it to somehow be misplaced or to be stolen. But you do also have that ability, Mary Jones, where I wouldn't be too worried about using the old laptop. The Ledger Live software is a very, very basic application. I have a computer, a laptop from 2006 that is running a crypto wallet. I use it for only one thing. It's the only thing that laptop does anymore, but it's that old, and it works just fine as being one very big, very clunky hardware wallet. And so, Mary Jones, it would. If we're talking about a laptop where like the screen half works and the buttons don't work, and you might end up accidentally sending your crypto to the wrong place by using it, then definitely wait. Definitely wait. If it's that kind of old and broke, I would wait. If it's perfectly functioning, it's just slow, I don't think I'd be too worried, Mary Jones. I would just make certain you have your 24 words in a very safe place and stored securely. That way, if you do anything along the way, you can always recover your wallet. Michelle News, is this podcast replacing the afternoon one, or moved from 5 p.m. to 10 a.m.? What's the schedule? And so, Michelle, from now on, I'll be doing my streams at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so they'll be following Pops on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. This move was made so that I would stop missing as many of the stream times. A lot of times in the afternoon, it was becoming a crunch with work for me to be able to make it over. And I was having to juggle between whether I was taking a phone call or a meeting for work for the day, or whether I was making it to the stream by moving it to the morning. It's made organizing my day a heck of a lot easier. And so I hope that it's working out well for a lot of people. Michelle, thank you so much. The timing is better for me, though I am too timing, and I can assure you my subconscious will be a crypto expert. Michelle, you've destroyed my trust. You're too timing me. No, that is no worries at all, Michelle. I'm happy to have you. Deborah Muse Wolf, what is the benefit of buying tokenized stock versus the standard stock shares? Oh, this is a great question, Deborah. An amazing, amazing question. And what's really exciting about having tokenized versions of stocks and of different traditional assets is the matter of liquidity. And so when I go to trade or to interact with something, or my ability to utilize that tokenized asset with traditional finance, I can't really leverage my stock portfolio in many fashions. With tokenized shares, we're going to start seeing people, say, providing loans off of their tokenized stock shares. And so people are going to place their tokenized stock shares into a smart contract, and they're going to use them as collateral in order to, say, do something else. Or they're going to use them and they're going to loan them out to other people in order to be paid back for their stock shares. It allows for you to actually start interacting with your shares in a company, and it allows you to start leveraging them to do all kinds of different things. They could be traded against. They could be loaned against. They could be provided as a form of liquidity in terms of tokenized trading pairs. There's going to be a lot more usability with it. And so you're going to see, especially financial firms and services, they are going to desperately want to be holding almost entirely tokenized stock shares, because they're going to be able to leverage that wealth and what they hold. They're going to be able to use it, and they're going to be able to interact with it on their own personal level far more than they had in the past. And that's really just the beginning, Deborah Muse. We're going to see, with the tokenization of stock shares and with the tokenization of shares of companies, we're going to start seeing all kinds of different things occur. Deborah, another example could be that by tokenizing stock shares, well, now we could start envisioning a world where a stock share ownership of a company was actually split between a group of investors, and we could even have split stocks. And so rather than me buying, one whole share of Tesla, I could buy half a share of Tesla, or a fraction of a share of Tesla, in the same way that many of the different index style funds work today. I could take a bundle of a variety of tokenized stocks. I could create essentially an index fund, and then people could actually buy shares of my index fund that's on the blockchain. There really are so many different ways to go about using it, Deborah, and it's going to be very exciting to see which direction we end up going in. And because very often, there's almost a futurist, there's almost like a futurist element to being a part of something this new. Because essentially, every time we reach this next little goalpost, nobody knows what the technology is genuinely going to be used for after. We have ideas. We have things we've thought of. I have propositioned and talked to people about how they were going to tokenize real estate and tokenize land. Well, look at the announcement on Monday. They're tokenizing and selling land in the Central African Republic. And that 2 or 3 years ago, or 5 years ago in particular, would have been me just being a crazy person. It wasn't actually guaranteed. It was just, this is a logical application of the technology. What it ends up being used for, well, we're all going to essentially figure that out at the same time when the day arrives. But it's very exciting to think about, Deborah. It's the same thing and the real benefit to why tokenized precious metals is going to be so dang exciting. Gold and silver honestly have a serious, serious problem being usable on a regular basis. They cannot be fractionalized, and so I can't chop up my gold coin into smaller pieces. I can't really move around and carry gold and silver on me in order to pay for something. And I have a massive swing that has to occur. When I buy gold, and I buy gold, or I buy silver, I guess is easier because of the numbers, and I buy silver ounces at a $2 premium, and so I'm already paying $2 over spot price for my silver. And now if I want to sell my silver back, and so say I've made my investment in silver, the price of silver has gone up, I would like to get some cash in order to do something else. I'm now going to then sell at a $2 premium loss, most likely, when I go to actually sell my silver back. And so I'm coming in to my silver investment with a lot of money that needs to be made up right off the bat. And I have to find someone to buy my gold or silver in the moment that I need it. When I need that cash, I need it to happen right away, most likely. What tokenized gold and silver provide for is instantaneous liquidity on precious metals. Now I can fractionalize a silver ounce. I can pay you 20 cents in silver for a piece of chewing gum, no problem, and without paying any big fees and without paying any premiums. I can buy tokenized silver without paying a spot price premium. I can sell my silver without paying any type of a premium. And so it changes gold and silver fundamentally as a market. Tokenized gold and silver make gold and silver a genuinely usable form of currency again. Money, I guess I should say, actually usable. And it solves essentially all the problems that precious metals have, which is lack of liquidity, and the easy transfer of money back and forth. It's not particularly easy right now, but we have things like Glint that are coming in and are kind of filling in that hole. But really what Glint is doing is Glint's just an early form version of what tokenized gold and silver is going to be. That's what Glint's planning on building, is tokenized gold and silver in the future. Hey there, musical lady. Happy Friday to you as well. Eyes on the Genius Act to be voted on the full Senate floor next week. Yes, the 17th. The 17th is going to be a very, very exciting day. Deborah Muse Wolf, my exact scenario, hard for me to even get spot. Crazy. Exactly. There's a huge problem in gold and silver right now. The blockchain solves the major problem. I will be able to go in and immediately buy gold and silver at spot price, instantaneously be able to take it, transfer it, use it, spend it, maybe loan it out in order to earn an interest off of it. And whenever I need to swap back out, it will literally take a second. It won't take any more. It changes the game entirely. Gold and silver should see massive, massive increases in value on account of blockchain technology, because gold and silver are seeing fundamental benefits to how they operate because of blockchain technology. It is huge. I know I've talked with Andy about this one a lot. And Andy had to kind of come around to it because he's, gold and silver purist. But nowadays, he's all about tokenized and silver and gold and the blockchain and working with Glint, because it's such a fundamental change to how precious metals even work. It makes this new financial system possible. We are building up towards this, and so many different technologies had to come into existence for this to even be possible. All right, guys, do we have, we do. Actually, I have one other story up here that I wanted to share. XRP corporate treasury investments near 1 billion as companies embrace blockchain potential. Now, this is one that's very exciting for us XRP holders. Remember that Bitcoin reserves are all the craze right now. We are seeing massive Bitcoin reserves being put forth by countries, by states, by corporations. Well, now we're seeing XRP reserves being set up, and now XRP corporate treasury investments are about to hit $1 billion with these recent announcements. One coming from Trident. Trident Digital, a Singapore-based Web3 firm, has revealed plans to raise up to $500 million to establish a corporate XRP treasury. So that is up to $500 million of XRP inside of the company treasury. In May, Weebus International unveiled plans to raise $300 million to support an XRP reserve. Energy solutions firm Vivo Power International secured $121 million in private funding to build an XRP-centric treasury platform. It has already allocated $100 million in XRP to the Flare network. U.S. pharmaceutical logistics company Wellgistics obtained a $50 million credit line to fund XRP-related initiatives. Altogether, these corporate moves have driven assets treasury commitments to $971 million, nearing $1 billion that will end up being locked inside of corporate reserve funds held in XRP. It just continues to go on and on. It gets more and more exciting on a regular basis. It really has been, guys. I know this is a broken record because I've been saying it for the past couple of months now, but we cannot stop winning when it comes to cryptocurrency. News is amazing every week. I don't remember. I'm having a hard time remembering waking up to bad news in the crypto world. I would say the last kind of bad news, and even it is more than just a small setback, would be that we saw Senate opposition to the Bitcoin Act of 2025. I mean, in all honesty, that slight amount of opposition is pretty much the worst news we've had in, 8-9 months now. It is particularly exciting to be in the crypto space at the moment when it seems like we just can't stop winning. Although I will 100% admit I would appreciate if my portfolio and my bank account would start participating in all of this winning, because we keep getting all this amazing news, but in all honesty, we haven't really seen much of a change in terms of the price of these cryptos, which is not unexpected because a lot of these things take time to actually come to fruition. Just the announcement, is not enough to fundamentally change the value of the crypto, but I'd like to start seeing it a bit more. Deborah Muse. So this is messing with my head a little. I've been holding in hand gold and silver, similar to the not your keys, not your crypto concept. Absolutely, Deborah. And that's what I do currently. And that's because we don't have truly functional tokenized gold and silver yet. And at some point in time, Deborah, I'm still going to keep gold and silver in hand. I would never intend to tokenize all of it. What I would kind of point to it and say to think about it as is to think about it in the same way as what is your savings and what is your checking account. Tokenized silver and gold is going to be something you can immediately achieve. You can just, bam, send that over to your checking account. Whereas in current, you can't really just do that. There's no easy way to go back and forth between US dollars and precious metals. That's changing. And as that does, I think that, Deborah, you're going to start seeing essentially some people are going to be keeping a portion of their gold and silver tokenized so that they have immediate access to it. And then they're going to keep another portion of their gold and silver right where it's currently at in the gun safe, etc., as a matter of, their Fort Knox. And they will be able to very quickly, and you will be able to very quickly, Deborah, go, okay, actually, I do want to tokenize this gold and silver. And then you're going to send it in to a centralized holding facility where it'll be tokenized, and you'll have immediate access to your tokenized versions of your gold and silver. It's going to go back and forth, and there's going to be reasons for having it in both ways. The tokenized version is going to be very liquid. I'll be able to access it. I'll be able to spend it. I'll be able to trade it. I'll be able to potentially earn an interest off of it. Whereas the gold and silver that's sitting in my gun safe, well, that really is for a rainy day. That's something that I'm not going to risk by potentially loaning it or staking it. That's something I'm not going to spend or plan on needing to spend anytime soon. You're going to see different logic for why you're storing it in different places. All right, Musically, XRP did very well with their positions with US Treasury inside blockchain with Ethereum, embracing both their old technology with the new technology. Such amazing times. It's extremely exciting times. Musically, extremely. Savvy, what kind of theft prevention is there on crypto? I've seen info just wiped off screens. How is this going to make people feel safe using crypto? Thanks, Zester. Also pertaining to tokenized assets. Well, tokenized assets are actually going to be a really big help. They're going to be a lot safer in certain regards because they are still tied to a physical, they're still tied to a physical asset. And so those times where something is potentially stolen, it's going to be able to be reversed or fixed. As we continue to go forward, though, Savvy, what's very important and is also something that is not really well known amongst many crypto users is that we already have all the tools to track down who stole your crypto. What we don't have is we don't have the legal framework to track them down. It's not a failure of blockchain technology. Remember the example I used where I tracked down, this was a couple of years ago over Decentraworld, was the name of the project that was a rug pull. I tracked down the guy who stole the money. He stole $3.2 million from over 400 investors. I tracked him down to his house in Serbia and then attempted to provide that information to law enforcement. And I was told not to bother. It's a waste of time. They don't care. The blockchain did its job. It found the culprit. The transparency and the ability to go through and forensically audit the blockchain provided the answer. We, as a society, failed at actually fixing the problem. And so that's where it's very frustrating, Savvy. It's extremely frustrating because we've been having these issues and people are getting robbed. And the sad part is we could be fixing it. We could be fixing this. It is not outside of our power. It just requires that we have an international body where countries actually work together. And so if some guy in India steals my money and I track him down, I need the Indian government to go and arrest him. I need the Indian government to go through and give me my money back. What I don't have right now is the ability to make the Indian government do that. I have the ability to find out exactly where the dude is that took my money, but I don't have the ability unless I buy a plane ticket, fly to India, I don't know, go to his house and try to rough him up to get my money back. I don't have any way of utilizing law enforcement or the justice system to actually enforce the laws. And that's where we're stuck right now. And that's why these bills are so important. We need the United States to actually have clear regulations and framework for what happens when cryptocurrency is stolen or for any blockchain related crimes. We need law enforcement to actually be trained and forced to do their jobs. And we need to actually work with foreign governments in order to make these things happen. That, or we need to actually start blocking blockchain technology companies from operating out of these countries and just say, hey, if you're operating out of these countries, American citizens are not allowed to participate. I don't like any type of controlling measures like that. But if countries are unwilling to get on board, things of that nature may become necessary. Savvy, sick the kitty cat trio on them. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll track them down with 3 cats in tow. Be like, yeah, the reason y'all aren't eating fancy feast, it's that guy's fault. Attack. For treats, my kitty cats might be willing to get a little to get their paws dirty for some treats. Oh, Zester, I don't know where Tino and Tina are currently at. I'm betting that they're napping somewhere. It's cat nap time, I would imagine. All right. Let's see. Anything else here? I do have one other very short article before I'll go ahead and let everybody get off to enjoying their Fridays. But this is just a very interesting trend, and I thought people might find this to be somewhat intriguing. And very often what people are doing now is they're taking all of the information of the market for the day, and then they're feeding it into an artificial intelligence like Grok or ChatGPT, and then asking it to go through and analyze the information and make predictions. Now, this one in particular, I'm not saying that I trust any part of this forecast that was presented by the AI, but I do think it's a very interesting thought for everyone out there. When you're thinking about tasks and stuff that you do on a regular basis, we have to remember what AI is capable of accomplishing for us. That really, it only benefits us. It's a tool. And in that way, things like putting in all the information on a current market can provide some very, very interesting and enlightening insights that the AI will put out. I have used this far beyond just trading or for anything work related. You can go in and give the AI all of your bills for the month, and it will go through and create a itemized budget and ways that you could potentially save money. You can go in with the AI, take a photo of your refrigerator and your pantry, and then the AI will go through and make a meal plan for you based off of your health conditions. I just thought that this was something that was interesting. They're using it right now for trying to beat the system, gain the markets, and make more money. But in all honesty, it's capable of so much more. I think we all need to keep in mind that it exists and that we need to be at the cutting edge of using it. It really is. It's going to become a race, a technological race, to see which country and which people become the most adept with artificial intelligence. Uh-oh. I see I got a kitty cat. I don't know what he's back there doing, though. Buddy? Oh, hello, Mr. Tommy. Looks like Tommy decided he needed to come by and say hello this morning. I guess he heard Tino and Tina being requested, and they decided not to wake up. This is Tommy. Tommy. I got Tino, Tina, and Tommy, an Italian street gang. Yeah. We're going to rough them up. Right, Tommy? And Tommy just loves to sit right there. There's a Tommy. Yeah. Mile High Trish, Deborah Muse Wolf. I'm going to be looking into Coinbase's Coinbase One card, which is supposed to give 4% Bitcoin on purchases made with card. That one's a very, very interesting one. Mile High Trish. I was actually debating applying for one myself, and seeing just to see how it works. Yeah, I definitely am. And so if you get yours first, Mile High Trish, let me know. But I was planning on applying for one and seeing how quickly I got that, because I would much rather be getting something back. Oh, Mary Pat. He is a cute kitty cat. He is a cute kitty cat. He's a good cat, too. Funny kitty cat. Very, very odd habits and things he likes. He loves water. He loves to play in water. He's an absolute maniac when it comes to getting into bags or anything of that nature. And for some reason, he really likes wet hair. Like really, really, really likes wet hair. If I take a shower, I have got to literally close him into a room or away from me so that I can dry off, because otherwise he will literally try to ride around on my shoulder like a parrot the entire time with his claws just holding on for dear life, trying not to fall off. Tommy's a very funny one. Tommy's a very, very funny one. He also lays in the most uncomfortable ways possible, where he will literally splay himself over top of something in what has to be the absolute worst for his spine. Mile High Trish, it's not the hair, it's your product. My dogs are the same way. Maybe that is. Maybe it is. I've tried a few different. I think I've probably used more than one variety, though, shampoo and conditioner. Maybe it just had the same ingredient in it that for some reason makes Tommy go nuts. The Tino and Tina don't care at all. They don't smell it at all. Not important. Don't care. Not interested. It's only Mr. Tommy here. All right, though, guys. I'm glad that we did get a Tommy join us this morning, and it looks like he's already heading off to nap time. But with all of that, love you guys so much. Thank you for joining. I will make an announcement as soon as the consulting goes one-on-one, goes live. I will make announcements all over the place, but I'm definitely certain it will be up and running next week. And I'm very, very excited for it. And so thank you all. Have an amazing weekend. Try to enjoy it and get some relaxation. Hopefully we're not coming back to talk about a World War III going on in the Middle East with Iran and Israel and everyone else. Hopefully we come back to a peaceful world on Monday. But we'll be back 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard come Monday regardless. Love you guys. See ya.